This is 9 News Riverina with Vanessa O'Hanlon.
Good evening and welcome to our new viewers in the Riverina. We begin with the opinion polls crisis for the government, and Malcolm Turnbull has blamed Tony Abbott for the big slump in popularity, saying his most recent outburst was calculated, accusing him of sabotage. If the poll's right, the coalition would be swept from office, although the Prime Minister says it's still a long way from the next election.
The government knew it was coming. Ministers had already blamed Tony Abbott.
Yeah.
It was arguably the biggest blunder in Oscars history. The cast and crew of La La Land bounded onto the stage after the hit film was announced winner of the Best Picture award, except it wasn't. An extraordinary error meant the wrong winner was read out.
There are always plenty of surprises at the Oscars, but this one will be hard to beat.
2 men are recovering from head injuries after a savage brawl in a Bayless Street kebab shop. Detectives are hunting those responsible who threw tables at the victims before they fled.
A trio of drunken men make their getaway, with security guards in close pursuit. CCTV captured them minutes earlier, staggering down Bayless Street. The late-night violence didn't end there, with a 24-year-old man charged with assaulting 2 police officers and a security guard. The Victorian man allegedly turned on bouncers at the Vic Hotel after he was kicked out, before attacking 2 officers.
Unfortunately, one of our cops has sustained an injury to his wrist and he's off work at the moment with that injury.
Meanwhile, his alleged attacker is out on bail. If you have any information about the brawl, contact Wagga Police. Priscilla Mocker, 9 News.
Police are hunting a number of firebugs after a home was targeted by arsonists in Ashmont on Saturday night. It is the second time in 2 weeks that a blaze has been sparked at the Buyuna Street address. Authorities believe the abandoned house is now being used by young troubled teens as a hideout. There's a new way to control an old pest. The Department of Primary Industries is rolling out an even deadlier strain of the Calices virus to reduce the wild rabbit population.
These carrots are laced with a killer virus. It's a biological agent which has been successful against wild rabbits, and now the Calices virus has been made even more lethal. AGGIE Bradshaw, 9 News.
It was all systems go at Wagga's Charles Sturt University campus today as thousands of students returned to mark the first day of a new academic year. Students and staff at the university are gearing up for a productive semester set to work through until mid-semester break in April. It's been a memorable day for a group of students in Wagga who graduated from the Army Indigenous Development Program. The recruits have spent the past 3 months participating in an intense bridging program aimed at preparing them for a career in the Australian Defence Force.
A proud day filled with emotion. These recruits have come to the end of what was a huge and memorable chapter of their lives. From here, the graduates will join the Army Recruit course, feeling confident in their ability to pursue a full-time career with the ADF. Grace Fitzgibbon, 9 News.
Work has begun on the installation of the Lights for Lake Albert project, with crews drilling holes today. Locals have been rallying to improve the safety of the popular tourist walking track for more than a year. 104 solar lights will be installed. The community-funded project is expected to be completed by the end of March. Stay with us. Still ahead on 9 News Riverina, hospital shame, the bungle that saw a Padstow couple's stillborn baby wrongly cremated before an autopsy could even be carried out. A woman trapped for almost 12 hours after crashing her car down an embankment, her unbelievable fight to survive. And exciting times for more than 20 rising star runners from Wagga who are heading to the Little Athletics State Carnival. A grandmother has spent more than 11 hours trapped in the wreckage of her car after running off the road and down an embankment. The woman managed to phone for help shortly after the crash, but couldn't tell rescuers where she was, prompting her son to join police in a frantic search across hundreds of square kilometres near Bathurst.
After what would have felt like an eternity, Mel Jones is finally freed from her crumpled car.
Mike Lorigan joins us now with sport. Nothing worse than almost losing the strap of your dress, Mike.
Very bad, very bad.
Not happening to Robbie Farah, though.
No,
How do you see in the firing
that's
line?
right. The old club, he's coming up against his old club in round one, but will the Tigers be without Jamal Idris after an injury scare? And what's got Paul Gallen frustrated ahead of the season opener against the Broncos? Robbie Farah's had to develop some thick skin over the years, and he's going to need every layer of it when taking on his former club West Tigers in a massive round one showdown. The Rabbitohs recruit will cop an earful from his former teammates who are promising verbal warfare.
Even with Robbie Farah out of Tiger Town, he's still the talk of the town.
There was a dose of deja vu for rugby league fans as the 2016 Premiership side squared off again for the grand final at West Wyalong. The Gundagai Tigers steamed through their knockout clashes and put an end to South City's smooth pre-season run.
Minutes into the Tigers' first final against Albury, Dylan Cole propels himself over the line for a 4-point start.
Over to cricket now, and St Michael's have taken out the A-grade minor premiership after a draw with the South Wagga Blues at the weekend. There were strong batting performances from both teams, with the Blues' Grant Forrest scoring 73 runs. Thomas Burns was the best for St Michael's, hitting a commendable 69. It's exciting times for more than 20 runners from Wagga who are heading to the Little Athletics State Carnival. The rising stars will be put through their paces in dozens of different races.
Qualifying for state championships is a dream come true for many of these young athletes. They impressed at the regional carnival, with a few stars from Wagga standing out.
Dozens of derby rollers from across the Riverina have had their biggest hit out in months at Bolton Park. The Wagga Derby Dolls had plenty of newcomers for the low contact scrimmage. Before the experienced rollers stepped it up, two of the local players will head to the South Central New South Wales tournament in Bathurst next week. Looks fun. Now, coming up after the break, Gavin Morris has all your local weather details.
Hollywood actor Bill Paxton, known for his roles in Apollo 13 and Titanic, has died from complications during surgery. The 61-year-old won a Screen Actors Guild Award in 1996, and that same year he scored his first leading role in the movie Twister. To finance, and the market closed lower, the All Ords down 13 points. Our dollar is buying just under 77 US cents. To the weather now with Gavin Morris. So Gav, things are cooling down a little.
Thank you, Vanessa. Good evening. Yes, cooler conditions and a little bit of wet weather on the way, but the better falls will be coming down to the far east along the coast on the eastern side of the divide. But temperature-wise today, backing off, mostly maxing out in the low 30s right across the far western plains towards the tablelands. Temperatures mostly maxing out in the low to mid-20s. So it feels like there's a change of season already in the air. Some good falls along the northern New South Wales coast. Big falls for central Queensland across the northern tropics over the past 24 hours till 9 this morning. Big falls continue this afternoon along northern New South Wales. This is going to be a very active trough line that is going to dip further south in the coming days. Still clear, sunny and hot throughout the interior, and that includes the local situation, but temperatures our way have been a little bit cooler thanks to this now dominant easterly influence across much of New South Wales. So there's our stalled trough line. That'll be sitting along the coast, dipping further south in the coming days, and therefore we could have some flooding rains there reach the southern New South Wales coast at the end of the week. There's no shortage of heat in the west. Another hot one for Perth, Adelaide, throughout the Alice. Feeling the heat again back in across Melbourne. It's going to be a hot end to summer, but for Sydney to Brisbane, it is going to be a very wet end to summer and a wet start to autumn. In for a local look at the forecast rain, there's all of the shower and potential storm activity, some of it trying to push out towards the western plains in the form of light isolated showers by the time it reaches us. So these are going to be a big feature. Cooler, mostly easterly winds right across the Western Plains, over the Great Divide, all the way to the Alpine districts. So in for a look at the forecast for tomorrow. It's going to remain fine right throughout the far west, over the plains there. Still quite warm into the low 30s, but the more we move eastward, the more cloud cover we're going to see, and we'll see the risk of some showers developing towards the evening period. Across the Western Plains, very similar story. Low 30s will be the top throughout tomorrow. We're looking at a couple of showers to develop right across the tablelands. There could be a storm or two in that as well. Taking a look at the sunrise information, about 6:45 it'll be up, setting at about 7:45. There's a new moon on our hands, so it's going to be quite dark at night, particularly with the cloud cover that is going to push in over the mountain areas. But for Wagga Wagga and the surrounding plains, off to the southern coastal areas and out towards the Riverina, it is mostly going to be a fine couple of days, with the cloud increasing and a better chance of picking up just an odd shower or two towards the end of the week. Now for the tablelands, it is going to be a little more active. You can see all of the numbers are pretty small for Orange and surrounds in the coming days. Temperature-wise, it is going to be much cooler, only maxing out mostly in the low 20s. For Dubbo and the Western Plains, predominantly fine, a little bit cooler, mostly the low to mid 30s on the way, and we'll see a better chance of picking up a shower or two also by the time we get to the up and coming weekend. We'd love more, but for now we'll take what we can get.
Certainly a big change. Thanks, Gav. Before we go, an update on our top story. A grandmother has endured more than 11 hours trapped in the wreckage of her car after a crash near Bathurst. She phoned for help but couldn't tell rescuers where she was, prompting a frantic search across hundreds of square kilometres. She's now recovering in hospital with a broken leg and dislocated shoulder. And for the first time in 88 years, there's been an extraordinary error at the Oscars. The wrong film for Best Picture was read out, with the cast and crew of La La Land on the stage before the mistake was uncovered, with Moonlight the real winner. And that's 9 News for this Monday. Tracy's up next with a current affair. I'm Vanessa O'Hanlon. Have a great evening. Good night.